Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be basically going over all of the noteworthy mobs in my Afterlight mod I made a while ago. And this is basically the sequel to my previous video, which was going over the blocks, or rather the most important blocks that were in the Afterlight mod. So today I'm going to be going over all of the Afterlight mobs, and when I mean all of them, I basically mean all of them, because there aren't actually a whole lot of them, so it's going to be pretty easy to cover all of them. So yeah, let's jump right into the video. Alright, so first up we're going to be looking at the moon spawn mobs. Now these camouflage type mobs are kind of like zombies, but they're a little bit special. So they spawn very commonly in dark areas, as does basically all other Afterlight mobs. However, these mobs spawn in large groups and are basically the most common mob that you're going to encounter in the Afterlight dimension. And while they aren't very special in terms of like AI, since I don't actually have a whole lot of time to put work into those aspects of these mobs, they do drop a special item called Living Essence. Now Living Essence is very useful because it can be crafted into a few items such as the Living Star and Living Essence ingots on a Ritual Altar block, which I featured in my previous video. So thus these mobs are pretty useful, especially because given those drops, you can actually use them for special other things. Next up, we're going to be looking at Dark Skeletons. Now, these mobs are similar to regular skeletons from the vanilla Minecraft, but they don't have bows, and they have a similar AI to moon spawns. Now, these actually have significantly more health and way more contact damage. They can actually take pretty massive damage to players, so they're pretty dangerous for players, especially if they are not very heavily armored. So you should definitely watch out for these guys because they hit very hard. However, they do drop bones and living essence and moon crystals. So next up we're going to be looking at the blood skeleton mob. Now this is kind of a dark skeleton variant, and they basically spawn only in bloodweed caves. However, they have a little bit less health and instead even more damage, making them actually able to take down an unarmored player in literally just 2 hits, making them significantly more dangerous, and definitely the most dangerous mob in the Afterlight mod itself. So, or at least that is yet. I do plan on adding some bosses, so they might not be that way forever. They do drop bones, and sometimes they drop a blood shard. So next up we're going to be looking at the first passive mob on this list, and we're going to be looking at the scuttlebug mob. Now this is technically a passive mob, but it actually does something kind of special when it is killed. So these mobs also only spawn in glowing caves, by the way, but however, I just want to show you what happens if you try to kill them. Now, if you kill them, if I can kill them, if you kill this mob, then what it will do is it will release a cloud of poison. As you can see, the cloud of poison, if you step into it for one thing, it gives you poison for 10 seconds. And what this poison cloud does is it actually deteriorates nearby blocks over time, making it a kind of unique feature and definitely pretty interesting to play around with. So when I said that they weren't exactly hostile, that's basically what I meant, because they can't attack directly, but if you do kill them, then they can release that cloud of poison. So lastly, we're going to be looking at another passive mob on this list, and that is the moonfox mob. Now, the moonfox mob basically effectively spawns in Moonlight Forest. Now, they look similar to vanilla foxes, but they don't really eat other animals like vanilla foxes do. As you can imagine, there aren't actually really any other animals to eat. So instead, they eat these flowers, the fog mallows, which are kind of the purple flowers, and they also eat the moonlight berries that grow on the trees. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. I basically went over all the most noteworthy mobs, and I actually will want to clarify that I actually did not go over every single mob, because there's actually one that I left out, and this mob is actually the Dark Skeleton Dead variant. So, as you can tell by the name, it's a dead variant, so it wasn't exactly very important, but it was effectively just a block that would be implemented in dungeons and future updates, so it wasn't very important, so I decided to leave it out. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed that video, and I'll see you next time for biomes in the Afterlight mod.